Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the CHG podcast.
RJ's in a different room.
I'm in my room. I'm in my own room.
Yeah,
where I sleep.
I don't know if we've ever seen it on the podcast.
You have. It's been a long time, though. Long time. I'm only doing it because my stepdad, he may be coming downstairs to do music. I do not know.
Do his singing.
But
I
I
should shout out his channel.
I do not. He doesn't have a channel.
Oh, he doesn't have a channel? Oh.
No.
I don't know. You just said that he does singing, so I thought it was
He does
a YouTube
music.
channel.
He's just making music. But not as a... He doesn't know how to make a channel. Are you kidding me? And I don't want to deal with any possible altercations because he doesn't know I'm doing this. So just so I'm down here just in case. I'm in my room just in case. Yeah, and also if I sound like a robot, because I woke up 20 minutes ago and I'm very tired.
To be fair, it's not that early, even in Washington. It's like 11:30.
It's almost 11:30, and your boy woke up about a half hour ago. Living that life, man. Living that life. Yeah, so welcome, guys, to CHG Podcast. My name's RJ. That guy over there is David.
I'm David.
And this is where we do our gaming podcast, where we try to talk about the gaming industry at length and try to be educational about it, smart about it, sometimes funny about it, but no guarantee.
In the summer is hard because nothing fucking happens.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Summer is the time. Well, it makes sense because summer is the time where people can finally play games. So, they put all the games out ahead of time so that you have all that time to play it and be placated. So then they could flood us again in the fall, in the winter.
Winter for sure.
Fall, winter. So anyway, so we're kind of a little bit in a bit of a drought, but nonetheless, your boys got you. We got some stuff to talk about today. But as always, first, what are we playing? I will go off. I don't have too much this time. Finally, I'm first just playing Neo. Still playing Neo. Doing that Abyss mode. That end game mode. I'm kind of also doing it because, it's just so interesting, the fact knowing that I can actually get this far. Because when I first played it on PS4, like I said, I didn't really do much with it because I didn't really understand the game that well. And I'm not saying I understand it that much better now, but I get how to do builds, and I'm not overwhelmed by anything now as much.
Yeah.
And so I can go into the Neo wiki and look up all the different builds and actually understand what they do and see and try to get a good sense, okay, well, I'm using an axe, so what's good for that? And it is what it is. I'm still not having I don't have that meta of a build because I'll have people sometimes join my game on a certain floor in the Abyss mode, and they'll just wreck a whole boss in 2 hits. In 2 hits, man. And I'm just like, damn, son.
Are they is it level scaled? Are they the same level as you and it's just their build, or?
Oh, it's just their build because we're all around the same level, but it's just because the axe never got the same love as the other weapons did as far as end game complete boss melting builds. Mm-hmm. We didn't really get that as much. I did see one guy do an axe build with me down there in the Abyss, and that was cool. But most of the time it's not that, and it's usually a sword, double swords, or dual swords. I've seen the ball and chain, the Kusarigama.
What about the switch glaive? I love the switch glaive.
I'm talking Neo 1.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
I'll have to find out when I do Neo 2 eventually if that's a very popular one. I know it got some support, but I don't know if it's popular.
It was just fun to use because you could go from the mini version, flipping it around, and then you uncork it in the middle of a move, and you swing the big scythe around. It was awesome. If
I remember correctly, that weapon was really good at stance switching.
Yeah,
on the fly.
Yeah.
On the fly, you can go from low to mid to high in the same combo. It's pretty wild. So yeah, that's what I'm. So the axe never got that level of treatment, and also the skills that it got. Because the point of the game is to get a weapon that has a good buff on a certain skill that a weapon has, right? And then you work from there with other things. Well, the skills that the axe has, they're too slow, and that's part of the problem.
Yeah,
the sword skills, even if it takes a preparation wind up or something like that for a second, it's just a second. It's really fast, really fast. I've seen those videos and they're great. But the axis skills, when I have to wind stuff up for more power, ends up taking like 3-4 seconds, which that's a lot of time when it comes to when an enemy's staggered. They're not staggered for that long, so to wait 3-4 seconds. By the time I'm done, they already got up, and I might miss the hit, or if I still hit them, they're no longer staggered, so you don't do that extra damage. And so it didn't get the love, but I knew that going in. I already knew it doesn't have the same love like that. But I made it to floor 300. I'm 300 floors deep, dog. Out of 999. So what I think I'll do, I thought I was going to be done at 200, but then for some reason I got to 300. So what I think I'll do is
back in.
It just does, man. It does. I think the curiosity of like, can I actually get to the last floor is like kind of drawing to me. No. So I think what I'll do is I'll alternate between Neo and like other games, and when I beat another game, I'll go back to Neo, play like 20, 50 floors or something like that, and then I'll start another game again. I'll go hand them back and forth, and just to see until it comes to the point where like, all right, I'm stuck. This is it for me. I'm done. I think that's going to be my plan. If I can actually get to the last floor, you don't get anything. I think you don't get anything, but if I get to the last floor, hot damn, that's going to be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean I'm going to need help.
It's one of those
gamer bragging things.
Well, I'm not really going to have anyone to brag to, but because I'm going to need help on that last floor. So, because the two bosses that they are like the worst bosses for me personally in the entire game. So I'm like, oh no. So yeah. And other than that, I'm playing Stray. I platinum Stray. Technically this morning, but last night. We'll just say last night.
Did you see the mod that put CJ?
I didn't see it, but I heard that was a thing, and that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It is distressing.
Yeah, I'm not watching that shit. That is weird. So yeah, it's an interesting game. It's I don't really know. I'm kind of scratching my head on how to label it, right? Because not an indie game. If that's an indie game, then we need to reevaluate what that word means, right? Because it has much more production value, much more attention to detail than any indie game does, right? But and it's funny because I read this review, or not review. I read this post on this update patch because I was wondering what the patch was about from the website, the official website for the game, and they said like, attention to detail that rivals a AAA release, and I was like, let's slow down here, buddy. Let's slow down. This is not that good. Okay, this is not that good. There's enough things I noticed that I'm like, nah, this is not a AAA game. Because like I'm like, okay, you're telling me this is the same level of attention to detail as Gears 6 or whatever Gears are on, or like Halo Infinite or Last of Us 2. Like, no fam, this is not that. But I don't know if it's at the level of AA either. That's the thing. Because like Biomutant was a perfect example of a AA game. Right? And I'm like, is it there? Is it AA? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I would put it there. I mean, it could, maybe. There's an argument for it. And then, like, no one really talks about, like, single A because, I mean, it's kind of weird, but, like, I don't know. Like, I think that should start becoming more of a common, that should be more in the gaming vernacular, right? There should be a category for single A games or something like that. Or maybe another word for it, but something above indie, because it's clearly not an indie game, or at least doesn't have the attention to detail of an indie game. But it's definitely not your big budget thing either. And if it did, that'd be kind of insulting because the game is not even. If you're not trying to get everything like I was, the game's about 5 hours long. About.
I mean, we've had AAA games that have been
I know.
around that length too. So
I know, but at least those ones did have way more detail than this does. Because, like, obviously, the prime example for me is the Order 1886. You remember that debacle?
Yeah.
That one was criminally long, short at like 5-6 hours maybe, right? But those production values were second to none, and no one could argue that.
Yeah,
no one could argue that. That attention to detail was ridiculous, right? Not worth $60, but definitely ridiculous. This doesn't have that, so not by any long shot. It doesn't look bad. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't look bad. Nothing's like entirely broken or anything like that. But I've just noticed like there's some things that you'll just know. You're like, yeah, this is not AAA by any means. So I don't really know. I want to call it somewhere between a single A and AA level quality game, which is not bad by any means. And but even if you get 100% everything like I was, it's still less than 8 hours to do.
Mm.
And then well, technically I played it for about 10 hours because then there's a 2-hour speedrun trophy to get if you're trying to do that.
Yeah,
And it's not really that bad. I got it done in one go.
Mm.
But yeah, so but yeah, not a bad game. I mean, crazy the fact that they rushed you to take the fact that you're playing as a goddamn cat and actually made it like an engaging game out of it. Like it's very,
Yeah.
and I'm not even I'm like, I mean, I'm not a pet person, period, because I just never grew up with pets. I don't really care about them. But if I had to choose between dogs and cats, I would choose cats because at least they're quieter, and they don't run at you when you walk into the house, like some animals I know. But but yeah, it's just I mean, but I don't like love cats by any means. I don't like love cats, but it's just yeah. But I was still like smiling at some points when you do cat things. Like it's very interesting how they did all that. And I don't know if have you seen anything about the game, David, but the game takes a weird ass twist story. Like it doesn't go the way you were thinking it was. I mean, no one knew where game was going to go. That's the
Aliens.
thing. So I guess they had that to their advantage because it's like, what do you think you're gonna do? Like, who knows what the hell you're gonna do? It's a game about a cat. Like, what are you gonna do? I don't know. As soon as we saw like there was robots involved, we were like, okay, I don't know what's about to happen here. But yeah, it's an interesting story. There's a little bit like of a connection you build with like this thing, and it gets a little like, I mean, I would say straight up sad, but like, it gets a little touchy, touchy feeling at the end of the game and such. And then they do a little stinger at the end too. Ooh. I'm like, is this game really going to get a sequel? Stray 2.
Stray 2. And then you're a dog.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm gonna play it on PS5 now, because that'll be really fast since I already know what to do. But also, if you come, David, which by the way, David might be coming to Washington again. If you come, we're live streaming that. We're gonna live stream the speed run on PS5, and I'm gonna get us some cat ears. We're gonna wear them on our heads. We're gonna be cats.
Meow.
Meow. Meow.
Anyway, I am playing. I re-downloaded Cyberpunk.
Re-downloaded it?
Yeah, because I deleted it. So I re-downloaded Cyberpunk.
Did you ever play that actual next gen update, or had you already deleted it by the time they did that?
Yeah, I already deleted it by the time I did it. So I downloaded that with the next gen update and everything, and it looks the same. Like, I don't know.
Well, I don't think the graphics was the thing they were really addressing. It was more or less the other technical issues, right?
I don't know. They said that the graphics were going to get an update, but I don't know. It loads fast, which I mean it should on my Series X. But the game plays the same. I haven't played too much of it, just opening mission, so I can't say too much. But I did notice I saw a light glitch where the light from the sun in a certain spot kept on turning off and on. So that was
sun?
Yeah. So I was outside and I was sitting in a spot, and then a light that was like shining through two things, so it like made like a line of light. It was like going off and on. So I was like, guess they didn't
Cyberpunk never changed.
Yeah, I guess they're getting rid of all the glitches, but like there wasn't anything too much. And like, I don't know, now that I'm coming in with like lower expectations, maybe I'll have more fun with it. I had fun creating my character, and the first little like intro to gameplay portion was good, and the shooting mechanics were good. Like, especially when you compare it to other like RPGs that have shooting in it, like Fallout 4 or something. It's the gunplay is much better than Fallout 4. at least in the little bit that I played. So no, it's been good, but I haven't been able to play that much. I've been finishing up my summer semester, finally done. Wrote my last 2 essays, submitted those. So now I'm done, and I have until like early September, and then my next year's school starts. So,
Oh, are you finally free for a little bit?
I mean, from school, yes.
Yeah. What else? Yeah, school.
But I have other obligations as well. So,
Gosh, what was I gonna say? Oh, you said that Fallout 4 had better shooting mechanics than Cyberpunk. Did you mean the reverse?
no, I meant that Cyberpunk has better shooting mechanics.
Okay, cool.
Than
Yeah,
other.
you said Fallout 4 had better.
No, I don't know. You have to roll that back. Anyway.
You can rewind the tape. You can rewind the tape. You'll see, because you started saying that like it's better than some games that have shooting mechanics like Fallout 4. But then you said, but then you're like, the little bit I played, like Fallout 4 has better shooting mechanics. And I was like, no,
then
you meant the reverse.
Okay, if I did say that, yes. If I'm the little I've played, Cyberpunk has the better shooting mechanics, but I haven't played a lot, so who knows?
Okay. Well, what I will say is that this part as so yes, there was that next gen update or whatever, but they're still working on that native next gen version of Cyberpunk.
Oh,
that got pushed way back. It got pushed out along with the Witcher 3 next gen update or next gen version 2. Those both got pushed way back. And so if those ever see the light of day, maybe then re-download it again and then see if that is where you'll see.
And we'll finally get a good game.
And you'll finally get the game you thought you were going to get 2 years ago.
Exactly. But no, it's pretty good. So I mean, I'm at least I had fun in that little first section. But.
Yeah, see, everything better when you think it's going to be bad.
Everything's I just gotta take that now. Have you seen the
That's
new?
What I.
Okay, so into our first story of the day, and I'll pick it. Have you seen the new legendaries for the new Pokemon Scarlet?
I didn't really get a good look at them, but I heard they're bikes.
They're fucking bikes.
Yeah, I heard they're
like
bikes.
They're lizard. They're like lizard legendaries. So it's supposed to be like they're like somehow sometimes lizards like puff up their chest and have like this barrel chest thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be that, but like it looks like a bike, but they still run on 4 legs. Like you don't like ride on the tire looking part. It's
Wait,
just
you can't ride them like a bike?
No, you ride on them, but they're still running on 4 legs. They're not like on the part that looks like a wheel. It's just odd.
So it's not a wheel, but it looks like a wheel?
It's supposed to be a wheel, but it's not like a functional wheel. At least with the gameplay that I saw. At least with the gameplay I saw.
That sucks. I want the ridiculousness of literally driving a legendary Pokemon in a game anywhere I go, and it's just fucking roll up on people. You're like, yo, what's up? Oh, this? Yeah, it's just my legendary Pokemon that I found. No big deal. Yeah, I'm riding it. Yeah,
I ride it like a bicycle.
I ride it like
I'm about to put some new exhaust on it. You know?
Yeah. This new aftermarket exhaust I found.
Just stick it up his ass. Just like,
bro, that'd be so dope to find like better parts for the bike. Like
for the legendary Pokemon
out in the wild, like you could find like better, like you could upgrade it and stuff. That'd be so, because this is supposed to be an open world RPG, like a full fledged open world mainline RPG. Yeah. That's right up in RPG's alley to find upgrades for other things. Why that should be absolutely a thing. I mean,
if you get all the chrome pieces to it, it's the shiny version of the legendary.
Yeah, bro, there's like 16 pieces. There's like 16 chrome pieces out in the wild, and you find them, bam, turns to the shiny version.
Come on, Game Freak, where you at? We're right here.
We're out here just spitballing ideas right here.
I only ask for like $80,000 a year. That's my salary. It's not much, and I'm just spitting gold ideas here. So
how about I just want you to let me work for you, and I'll be happy. That's all I need. Let me just be in your Redmond office. I'm like 20 minutes away, guys. I can literally get over there like really fast. No, yeah, I did see a little bit about it, but I didn't see it. I thought maybe we'd talk about that, but I didn't really watch enough of it. And from what I realized, they didn't show enough as I thought they were going to show. So
I mean, it's going to be a little bit, so they still got plenty of time to show other stuff. But
I mean, it's coming out
new
in
Pokemon that they
November.
have shown, yeah, it's still a while away.
It's like 3 months. It's not that long.
Anyway, the new Pokemon that they have shown have been better designed, in my opinion, than the ones in the past have. But if like they make all the starters like different vehicles, that'll be weird. I don't know what they're gonna do with the starters or anything like that. So, but we'll have to see. It's interesting. I just saw it. I'm just like, sure, Game Freak. You know,
as long as it's cool, and it works. I honestly, most time we don't really care about shit like that. If it's cool and it's funny and it's like whatever, I won't care. Like I don't think most people will care because who's thinking about realism with Pokemon? You know what I mean? Like nobody is. So it's like
it's not realism. I'm talking about ridiculousism. Like
yeah, I know, and that's the thing because no one thinks about realism. You sometimes have the leeway to do ridiculous things like that. Sometimes
we'll see. Just have Pokemon be able to be out of the Pokeball, walking around with me, motherfuckers, and we'll be fine. Okay.
And then David will be happy. Yeah. I mean, once they do like a bigger like info dump, like a really good one. I mean, yeah, we heard about like there's different paths you can take when you start the game, and you can literally do them at any leisure you want, and it'd be interesting to see how one might impact the other if you do it at different times. But like, yeah, whatever you want, do it. I
just want a path where my rival's not a little bitch.
They didn't talk about that. I don't think, but you know
that would be a winning game feature. You just see the Pokemon title come out, and they start doing their intro video with that music, and then the words come up like "Your rival, not a bitch," and then I'd fucking lose it. I'd be like, "Oh my god!"
That's the subtitle of the game.
yeah. No, it's just those little things where they flash like new generation, open world, better graphics. Rival, not a bitch. Like,
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I mean, having a good rival would be nice to have like a really, like, yeah. I mean, the character doesn't even have to be like a dick. Just be competent and have like a good story for why he's doing or she's doing what they're doing.
And I really think like I don't, and I've never like I understood it more when it was on the Game Boy because you like branching narratives weren't really a thing, like. Back then, but like, why is it that like I can't like that they're an actual challenge, like an actual fucking challenge, and if they win, they fucking win, like that's it, and the story continues and the story moves on, and like it like shapes the story, like maybe not in huge ways, just like in smaller ways that he interacts. Like maybe if he keeps on like pounding me, maybe he's like, look, man, you're not a rival to me anymore. Like I gotta like move on from you. Like,
I mean, maybe it's what they can do in later games or this one. We don't know what they're doing to do with this one, but like back in the day,
they even think cool. Like that. Like they're so afraid to change up shit.
Well, back in the day, though, at least I mean, I don't know when this might have started, but I know the old ones. If you lost, you actually had to redo the battles. That's why that didn't happen.
Yeah, I know, but
you
like,
couldn't even.
I think that you should just lose and then be like, well, now you don't get
and maybe,
the benefit of winning.
Maybe now that can happen. I don't know. They're trying. I mean, they broke some molds with Arceus, so it shows that they're willing to break some
excited.
things.
I'm excited for this new one. I won't be able to get it because I'm dirt ass poor, but you know,
dirt ass poor. Yeah,
and there's no fucking Nintendo Game Pass for me. So.
Nintendo Game. I know why that sounded funny to me. Nintendo Game Pass. Yeah. So we'll see. Well, I mean, I'll keep my eyes on it. I don't have a Switch, so I'm not playing it. But
yeah.
I'll be interested to see how it does. David will eventually play it one day. Yeah. Maybe if he's a good boy, I'll get it to him for Christmas.
There you go.
But yeah, I'll see how it goes. But anyways, moving on to a different game. So Multiverse, Warner Brothers
Multiverse of Madness,
and it's getting all types. Yeah, that one, and it's getting all types of love and recommend and praise, and I don't know why, but but it is. But it's very interesting. It brings up an interesting discussion because this game I guess is out of beta. I'm not even
who knows anymore what qualifies as out of beta and a full game release or whatever.
Yeah, people be putting
nothing matters anymore.
Out like people be putting out betas and it look like the exact same game as the final game. And so I'm just like, what? Okay. Free to play. I think it's out. Yeah, because everyone's been doing. Because no one. I don't think anyone reviewed the beta. Oh gosh, that's probably why I'm looking up stuff like this online, because like it'll just tell you the initial release date, like when the beta was out, and it's like
yeah.
Well, anywho, the game's doing really well, regardless if it's the beta or the full game. The game has done incredibly well. It was like, I guess, the most like played concurrently played game in history on Steam or something like that. Which is like, what? Really? Okay.
I don't know. It had a super like big multimedia push for the youngins, and then all the youngins got it on their iPads, and we're like,
because it is on everything. It's on everything. And it's cross play. Not cross, just cross. Well, sorry, I think it's cross plat. Whatever. There's a lot of cross functionality with this game, which helps. And so it's interesting because the Nickelodeon game a couple months ago dropped as well, which is pretty much the exact same style of game, and that game did like okay.
Well, I think the big thing with that is that like outside of SpongeBob, Nickelodeon doesn't have too many world recognizable characters.
Yeah, I think that the next best one probably would have been Avatar.
Yeah, Avatar,
the next biggest one, and then everyone else.
Then
was
you
like,
have
like a deep cut.
Jimmy Neutron, Fairly Odd Parents.
Their properties are older.
But
older,
with WB, you got fucking DC, so Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, fucking all of DC. You got like deeper cuts that are still nostalgic, like the Iron Giant.
Which that caught me off guard. I was not expecting the Iron. I was like, wait, Warner Brothers owns the Iron Giant?
Yeah, like, and then you have like the Scooby Doo crew. So like Scooby and Shaggy. No, and you know, fucking memes are going with Shaggy like beating up Superman. Beating Superman to shit.
Yeah, I guess there's like that Shaggy Ultra Instinct Shaggy or something like that from like years ago, which I don't even know how that came to be, but okay.
And that meme's gonna resurface and shit now. So I think they just had a lot more pull, a lot more recognizable characters than Nickelodeon did. Like in my opinion, like I think there was a lot of like kind of criticism thrown Nickelodeon's way, like why are you doing this? Like it's not like it to me. I think people thought of it as more of a cash grab than just because they don't have a lot of recognizable characters, and it is pretty much just a copy paste of Smash Bros. Where I mean, this is too, but I think that if this would have come out instead of Nickelodeon's, that it would have been received. Obviously, being received better, but it's still like it would have been received even more better, and I think it would have done fine. I just don't think Nickelodeon just has the pieces in place to do something like that.
And I think the other big one they had was TMNT. That was like the other big one.
Oh, true. Yeah, they did have TMNT. One. True.
Which that's
a little better.
Between that SpongeBob and then to a lesser extent Avatar / Korra, because I think they're both in there. Those are probably their most recognizable ones across all age ranges and such and cultures.
And you take all of those, and there's still more recognizable characters than just DC.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to prove your point.
I know.
Yeah, because like, I mean, I saw the Nickelodeon one, I saw some of the characters, and I was thinking like, oh man, holy crap! Like, but like they only pertain to people my age, around my age range, right? Because they're deep cuts that haven't seen any show or anything since they were done with their initial run. Like you said, like Jimmy Neutron was in there. I saw Danny Phantom in there, and I was holy crap, Danny Phantom, that's my boy right there. And I think Cat Dog was in there, which is like, Cat Dog, are you kidding me? And some other ones, but like they were all from cartoons from when we were kids, and it seemed to be like they were kind of only, and because of these older characters that haven't really seen much since they were done, it kind of limits the target audience for who this game could be for. right? Because you'll have you have your SpongeBob and your TMNT, which that's still relevant to all age ranges and shit. But 2 or 3 characters can't hold a game like this, right? You need to have a whole range of characters that everyone, even if you don't want to play as most of them, to be able to still recognize them and know who they are is half the fun. And if you don't, for like these younger people, or maybe people who didn't have those shows in their country or whatever, and they're like, "Who the fuck is Danny Phantom?" Which would break my heart. But like some little kids are just like, "Who the fuck is this white haired idiot?" And I'm like, "Don't you talk shit about my Danny Phantom like that." But like I saw footage of the multiverse, and every character is known in some fashion, right? Like you said, DC characters, self-explanatory. And then they had like Arya Stark from Game of Thrones. Now, maybe not
really?
some of the young. Yeah, I'm not joking. So maybe some of the younger kids, may not know her, but there's a huge. I mean, Game of Thrones was still huge regardless, so it's still going to attract to a lot of people. And then there was Finn and Jake from Adventure Time, which that definitely hits our target audience with some younger ones. Iron Giant, which that's like our deep cut. That's the deep cut for us boomers. They should have literally just had it be like for boomers only. It's like, and then then you had.
Also, we're not boomers.
As far as gamers are concerned, we're boomers. When it comes to gaming,
I didn't know there was a difference in
dude. Because have you heard the things that we complain about sometimes, bro? Like we're hitting that boomer age for gamers.
Okay.
I mean, I know we're not, but like, trust me, people are. Your Fortnite kids are okay. Your middle schoolers that you substitute would absolutely call you a boomer if it came to like gaming stuff.
Who knows?
Because you'll be like, whatever, or you guys with your free to play games on your phones and your Fortnites and this and you're back in my day, this and that, because it's so different. But anyways. Also, that was also a joke, so you have to fucking dissect it like a frog. Anywho, and they had Harley Quinn, particularly I think it's the one from her show on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Which, man, Harley be looking like a fucking snack, bro. I don't know if you've seen her in that game, but son of a bitch. I was like, this is for kids or for adults? Because,
I think adults.
I think it has to, because Wonder Woman and Harley be looking like snacks, dog. Like, it is stupid. And obviously the Scooby-Doo, which is that has everybody, especially with the meme of Shaggy, Ultra Instinct Shaggy. So I mean, you're right. Its properties have a wider reach than Nickelodeon's will ever have, just because unfortunately the characters that they put into the game haven't really seen the light of day in like a decade and a half. So I could see them thinking as a cash grab. Also, another thing is that it because of the quality, and I've also heard other things too, like in Nickelodeon, none of the characters talk. They don't say anything. They just fight. Whereas in DC, in the multiverse, they actually have voices. Maybe not the originals, but the characters do talk and say things as they do, which helps liven things up a bit, right? And so is that. I think there's also supposed to be some kind of story mode or something like that in the multiverse. I don't know if there was one in Nickelodeon, but which is interesting. And also, it's free, which is a big deal. I saw the price for the Nickelodeon one. It was $45. And so $45 to play as a bunch of characters you don't know. I feel like they should have switched it. I think Multiverse Credit could have gotten away with charging. Maybe not $45, but they could have gotten away with like charging $30 or something like that. And I think the Nickelodeon should have been free. That should have been free. Because I think people wouldn't have been as mad with the Nickelodeon one, because it's like I'm paying for all this for like this like half par, this subpar Mario clone. It's just interesting. But I wanted to add. Yeah.
No, go for it. No, go for it.
I was going to kind of ask the question about it, but no, go ahead.
No, you go. Ask the question.
I was just going to say, like, what other franchises or some kind of properties you think we could see a type
Smash
of Mario,
Bros. Like
Smash Bros. Clone like thing.
So I'm gonna bend the question a little bit. So because I was thinking about it, I was thinking about like saying, well, you could do like Disney, but here's the thing. Disney already has a property that already is a crossover fighter.
Really? Are you really gonna do Sora from Kingdom Hearts?
No, shush, no. So there's Marvel versus Capcom, But now that Disney owns Marvel, you do Disney versus Capcom, and you do a fighter that has all of the Disney characters and then the Capcom characters. So you can have fucking like Darth Vader in that shit. Any Disney character you want to do, like Hercules from Hercules. Like think about all the Disney characters, and you could have like a Disney fighting game. Like I think that would be cool. But I mean, more directly to your question, is that you could absolutely do a Smash Bros. Disney version because they have all of everyone. So my answer is Disney.
I think if they did that, I think it would, I know it wouldn't technically make sense, but I think for people, for like the mass audience, I think it'd be better to call the title or somehow label the title something to do with Disney X Marvel X Capcom. Because yes, Disney owns Marvel, yes, and a lot of people know that, but because Marvel vs. Capcom already has that name recognition already, that's already been such a long-standing series. If you put Disney vs. Capcom, some people like me, you and I could probably be like, "Oh, snap! It's about to be we know what's going on," but maybe not everyone would. And I think if you kept the Marvel in there, it helps with more brand recognition.
Honestly, what I think would happen is that they would just do this. Would just be like Marvel versus Capcom. What are we on? 4 would be the next one. Yeah,
5.
No, 5 because the 4 was terrible. So you could do it would be Marvel versus Capcom 5, and then they would just have you could unlock Darth Vader or unlock it would be like a special character unlock. So it would be more focused on Marvel vs. Capcom characters, but then like special unlocks for other Disney properties.
Some Disney on like
guests. you just hear like the last boss. Like you fight through the whole storyline, whatever mad scientist or whatever, you defeat him, and then you just get this Mickey Mouse chuckle. I can't even do the Mickey Mouse chuckle. Yeah. You think you defeated us? And then Mickey comes out just with a fucking Keyblade.
Okay, if he came out with the Keyblade, that's it. That's done. That's game over. That's the best. That's the with the cloak that he usually wears too. For
the just hooded, just
if he came out like that, that would be. I would buy that game instantly because just to see that shit. That would that's a crossover if I've ever heard one. That's a crossover. You're taking a game that already was a crossover and putting it into another game that's a crossover. So you have crossover section. It's just crossovers on crossovers. That would be insane. What would be interesting, and I don't even know. This wouldn't do well, but it'd be interesting. This
is a terrible idea.
Well, no, not yours. The one I'm about to say. But, Xbox doing one.
Well, there was a whole thing after Sony did their Sony Battle Royale or whatever they called it, where it was like, oh man, are we gonna get one from Xbox? And I think we would have if the Sony All Stars would have been well received,
good, competent,
yeah. I think if that one would have done well, I absolutely think Microsoft would have just been just through their.
It would have given more It would have given more confidence to do it. But at first, I was going to say I don't think it would work because it's well, how many really strong icons does Xbox have? But then I was thinking, well, they don't. But it'd be in the same vein as Nickelodeon, where they do have a lot of other properties that we actually forget about, right? That technically are tied to Xbox, but no one would really know them, or there'd be deep cuts. Like for instance, Jade Dynasty or Jade Empire, whatever that game was, Xbox exclusive from BioWare, which never went past the original Xbox. That they technically could use those characters from that game, right? But that's a deep cut.
You just throw out one of the NPCs from the Forza Horizon games. He's just there, and all of a sudden, his special move is to he drives a car.
Here comes a new challenger, Forza driver.
Yeah, just in a helmet and everything, and he's just
with the helmet, and
gets out of his car, and he's just
some ambiguous, it's fucking just
traction.
Model driver 01. That's me. So but like, yeah, so that's why I don't think it would do well, because I mean they have a lot of properties, because like, when we saw the Rare Replay, they obviously do own a lot of properties, right? But it's just a lot of them just haven't seen light of day, which I think was part of the problem when the PlayStation 1 came out too, because they did have some iconic shit for sure, but like half of them hadn't even seen a game in so long at that time. And also there was no Crash or Spyro, which was like, excuse me,
Yeah,
I know Activision owns it, but excuse me, you don't make a
yeah,
game like this without
yeah.
Crash and Spyro.
Pay the money,
Yeah,
and get them in here.
Microsoft, yeah, you give Activision the money, get them in the game, please, thank you, yes. And also they didn't have Laura Croft in there. Like, excuse you, what? The
Well, Lara
game that
Croft was
helped.
even more like
That should have been,
shaky.
that should have been easier, because Square Enix owned it, and they're nowhere near as big as Activision is. So it's
Yeah.
like they should have been, and Square and PlayStation have had a long relationship for a long time. So that should have been an easy pull for them, easy. Maybe because Nathan Drake was in there, so like, oh, we can't have both of them. But like, no, that's the exact reason why you should, because you
Yeah,
could
they
have
could like
like,
do a little quip or something.
yeah, she's like, I was the original one, and he was like, well, I did your games better, and then she's like, well, my new version did your games better.
One second, I want to put
And
my
it's just like,
dogs out. Hey, I'm back.
did you guys play the PlayStation All Stars Battle Royal from like 2012? The game that really sucked, and Sony didn't do well with it at all.
No,
Oh, hi,
did
hi.
they make it? Did they make a second one? I like feel like
No,
I felt like they
no,
did.
nope, no, no, no. It was that game was just, I got it for free from PlayStation Plus, which is the only reason why I played
I
it, and I
checked
don't
it
even
out
know
while I was looking
why.
the games out.
I don't even know why the fuck I played it, because it was so
It was
boring.
so bad. Like it was just like
It was just
the
boring
way
to
the
me.
way you had to like score points. I'm pretty sure you like. Oh, I can't remember now, but it was something
No
stupid.
one does. So
Like
old.
it wasn't like how in Smash Bros you could get their percentages high enough to like blast them off the screen. There was like you had to down them in a different way, and it was stupid.
Oh, I know you got these supers, level 1, 2, and 3 supers that definitely helped with certain things. But it's just, I mean, the levels were kind of cool. Some levels were cool, some levels were not. But it's just, I was just bored. So bored playing it. Granted, I know games like these are supposed to be played with others, but I wouldn't have been able to last too long, even if you and I were playing it. We probably would have went like 20 minutes and then been like, all right, I'm done. Are you done? Like, I'm done. Let's just move on. Yeah, it was a boring ass game. And also, they did my girl Nariko so dirty. She wasn't in the initial game from Heavily Sword, by the way. Nariko from Heavily Sword, which, man, they need to make a fucking sequel to that game one day. She was DLC. And I was like, really? DLC? I mean, I'm happy you're in the game at least, but like DLC.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just at the time, they had so many of these characters that were missing, and then the characters that they had in the game made no sense at all. It was like they wanted the game to fucking fail, which was weird. Like they put all these resources in, they hyped it up like crazy just to have it not do well. Like they had the Dante from the DMC reboot in this game, which
Yeah. Well, they didn't know that
I'm
was had
no,
that failed by then.
well, first of all, the game did not technically fail. It did commercially well. Just want to put
It
that
was
in
a good.
there.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, but then again, I don't think either of us are long diehard fans of the original Dante series.
No.
But yes, it pissed off a lot of people because it was like, who is this fucking 2008 emo version of Dante, in my fucking screen? But that game had already came out and whatever. But like they chose that one. I was like, okay, I get it for relevancy, but like this is supposed to be celebrating your biggest
Classics.
franchises
Yeah.
throughout history. And so like give us OG Dante. Give us the white-haired Dante. So like they blah 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 with that. Big Daddy was in it, which was like, what?
I don't know. Big Daddy kind of made sense.
No, because it started off as an Xbox exclusive. So it's like when you know the history, it's like, what? I mean, if that was the case, then put fucking Commander Shepard in there. Then fuck it, why not? So like that he was in there. Fat Princess was in there, which I guess made sense to an extent because it was a PlayStation Network on a PSN exclusive, but like, okay. Most people probably didn't even realize it wasn't exclusive to PlayStation. They were like, oh, it's just... Anyways, I'm done talking about this. Let's move on. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the big. I mean, it's not really big yet, but it will be in time. But so there's the impending Microsoft
decision,
Activision deal that the FTC and the SEC or everywhere, all the U.S. big
trade
regulation
commissions,
governing bodies have yet to make a final verdict on, which is, I think, the last thing that's in the way of this happening. And now that we're getting closer to that possibly happening and it's seeming more and more of a certainty, Sony is starting to sweat. And I don't blame them, because I would be
up a
too.
tough.
And so but David seems to know more about this story than I do, so I will let him go ahead and go on it.
So I don't know which trade commission, because this is just my memory, which you all know is horrible, off of a story that I heard. But a trade commission sent out a survey to all the top tech firms about the acquisition, what they think about it, how do they think it's going to affect the industry, do they think that it should go, be allowed, stuff like that. So most companies, if they answered the survey at all, which most apparently did not even care to answer the survey at all, and then like some only answered a few things, but you have people like Amazon, Apple, and some other people saying like, it should go through, it shouldn't affect the market, which of course they're fucking all going to say that, because they're all big companies who want to make purchases in the future, so they're not going to say that it's not okay. But the real telling one is that Sony filled out the whole fucking thing, and like at every
naturally
at every turn was like, this is unfair, like you can't let this go down. If and they stated some facts. They were talking like, you're talking about one of the biggest games ever. A game that even when it's on a downturn and it has a bad game, it still sells a lot. So they compared the Instagram, I think it was, followers for the Call of Duty account and the Battlefield account. And it's like Call of Duty has something like, I'm going to get the numbers wrong, but like 20 million followers, and Battlefield has 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it that much of a disparity?
It's like 10% or something like that. Yeah.
Is that much of a disparity?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then again, okay, I would love to see what it would have been last year before the 2042 release.
2042, yeah. But they have quite a point, because because what people say is like, oh, it can't be a monopoly because there's other shooter games, and they're like, yeah, it's like not technically a monopoly, but in essence it essentially is, because they control most of the market. And it doesn't, and what they also were saying is like, it doesn't matter like if it's exclusive, it's going to make people buy an Xbox that would not have bought an Xbox if this was not the case, because even if they purchased, Blizzard, not Blizzard, sorry, fucking whoever makes Battlefield, I fucking forgot. EA. Yeah, if they bought EA, Battlefield, Madden, all the sports games still wouldn't like have the same audience. So yeah, they threw up a fit on that. And obviously
I don't know, FIFA might.
Yeah, I don't know.
FIFA might. Madden, no, but FIFA.
But
FIFA
also, there's no way Sony could buy EA. Like they just don't have the money. But anyway, so yeah, they were heavily against it. They came out and did that. So that, I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I guess this comes down to a couple things. Do we think that Microsoft will make it an exclusive? And then if yes, what does Sony do? Like how do they play this? Can they survive? Like, is this a death blow? Is this like, can they rival Microsoft in some way? That's the kind of questions we have. So first off, do we think that Microsoft will make eventually make Call of Duty an exclusive?
It's so hard to tell at the moment, right? Because if you had asked me this 15 years ago, which I can't believe I can say that, and that makes sense. Let me think. 2022, 2012. So, yeah, about 15, between 10 and 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
If this had happened then, I would have said yes. It would have absolutely been exclusive. Absolutely, no hesitation. Especially if you think back to that time frame, right? 360, PS3 era, Xbox was killing it on top. PlayStation was finally starting to come back in the 2010s, but it was but still at the time Xbox was killing it, and Xbox and Call of Duty were hand in hand. You thought COD, you thought Xbox. At least for me, I did. And I think a lot of people could say that, right? That's just, it went hand in hand with each other. And also, Xbox was a dick back then. Not that Sony wasn't, but Microsoft was definitely a dick back then. That's when I started seeing all the MMS dollar sign with the dollar sign. Everyone joking about that. Not just from Sony fanboys, but it was just a thing, right? Just Microsoft was a bit scummy a bit more scummy back then, and they kind of held that for a while. I think because they realized that they were at top. They were just they were like that cocky jock at high school, thinking they can get away whatever they wanted. But now, I don't know, because they've been changing at least their public persona, their public image, and when fucking Phil Spencer goes on stage, well, when he used to go on stage in front of people, motherfucker gets a fucking standing ovation. Like, people really, not just because he's like the Xbox guy, but like they like him. People like Phil, right? And I kind of like Phil. He seems like a cool guy. Like he seems to, at least his public image makes it seem like he's really, he's a businessman at the end of the day, but he does seem to at least hear and see what people say about the company, about Xbox, about games, about things like that. So part of me thinks that they wouldn't, at least not initially, just to continue up with their nice guy Xbox persona, or good guy Xbox persona. But then again, at the end of the day, it's a business, and they have stakeholders, they have shareholders, and like any big company, they are kind of beholden to them. So, I think it would take several years, but I think it would eventually become an exclusive.
You want to hear mine?
I mean, you're supposed to tell me yours. This is a podcast. No, David, don't give me any of your opinions. I just
want to know if you were done or you had more thoughts.
Oh, you should have just said, "Am I done?" Then, yeah, because I'm done.
Are you done? All right, cool. So, do you remember back when we discussed Game Pass and where I thought Xbox was going to go with Game Pass? What I thought they wanted to do.
I don't remember what you said about it. No.
I said that I think that they want to put it on PlayStation and put it on Nintendo.
This was a long time ago, because then
this was a while ago.
Because we wouldn't have, because we didn't, they must not have announced the Sony thing then at the time.
They're not.
Because you wouldn't have said that. You wouldn't have said that.
But I still think that's their plan. And this is how. Is how. They make it a Game Pass exclusive. And they go to Sony and say, hey, you can have Call of Duty on your console. You can have it. You have to put Game Pass on your store. And I don't know what the business would work out. Honestly, I think that they could go to them and be like, no cut, you just get it. But I think Microsoft would be like, hey, look, you can take, your normal shop fee, whatever that is, for downloads, and you get that percentage of the Xbox Game Pass revenue. But you have to put it on your thing. And I guarantee you that is going, that would force them to do it. And then eventually they would see a loss of subscribers from their platform. And then eventually they would probably have to work out a deal to merge the two, or something like that. Or maybe the Sony thing just dies a natural death and whatever. But I think they could do it. I think they make it a Game Pass exclusive. They force Sony to put Game Pass on their platform, and they increase their user base for Game Pass. It saves Sony from losing customers off of the PlayStation, because if you want a PlayStation and you want to play Call of Duty, you can still play Call of Duty on the PlayStation, but you have to do it through Game Pass. It's enough leverage.
I mean, the leverage is there, but I'm trying to think of the logistics. I don't know. I mean, and that wouldn't even happen for some years down the road, because it's like, why would you waste all that money, all that resources and time to get this PlayStation Premium thing live, just to then deviate most of those funds for people to beat the Game Pass instead?
Because you're not given a choice. This wasn't their plan. They didn't. I guarantee you, they had put money and were working on the PlayStation Game Pass, or whatever they're calling it, before they knew about the acquisition of Activision. So this is just a fucking monkey wrench. So they have to decide: do we say no and lose the potentially millions of players that are going to have to go to Xbox, or do they force their hands and kill the child in the crib of their Game Pass in order to get Call of Duty? Like, I think it's possible. I would say it's either that, or Sony or Microsoft will keep their word, or they'll work a backdoor deal and it'll stay multi exclusive. But I think that if it goes exclusive, it'll be exclusive on Game Pass, and that'll be what happens.
It's so. I know you're presenting it as if it's some easy thing, but there's so many layers of that my brain can't even wrap it around right now at the moment. I need an economist to figure this shit out, because like there's the way I'm seeing it with what I know about business, and some of the things I know about economy and deals and negotiations. There's so many layers to this problem if you do it that way. There's so many layers, so many what ifs, so many decisions Sony can make. I mean, I know, yeah, there's like you present as if like there's only one option, but there's other options. There's not saying they're good, but there's a whole lot of different things they can do.
There's other options, but there's only in this scenario, there's only one option that keeps the Call of Duty player base.
And see, in this I think the fact that I'm fucking like, what the like, this dilemma I'm having, I think honestly makes me now also hear Sony's point about a potential monopoly happening here, because I'm just like, yeah, what the fuck, right? Because you already had an oligopoly to begin with, right? Mm-hmm. Which for those who don't know, is essentially a monopoly, but only by like a few companies. So instead of one, it's like 4 or 5.
Which is what we have in America, pretty much.
We have those everywhere here. I don't know. I'm sure there's some in other countries, but like a popular one is like with utilities, like electric stuff or internet or things like that, or water, sewage, whatever. There's usually only a few, but those are sometimes government regulated, because they should be, because these are like essential things. So there's no point of having a bunch of companies bidding over shit like this. When it's like, I need this to live, unless you want people to die. But another popular one, which I don't think is government regulated, but is phone services. There's really only like 4 big ones in the U.S.: Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, and AT&T. There are others, but they're usually either controlled by those big 4, or there's some fucking, who even knows what the fuck they are, way over there in the corner. But in gaming, it's the same thing. So if you're looking by genre here, yeah, it's an oligopoly for sure. I mean, some people could just say monopoly because of COD, but Battlefield they do take up a chunk of the player base. There are a lot of people who do like Battlefield over, not anymore, but before 2042 dropped, that preferred Battlefield over COD. And when Battlefield was in its heyday, like during Bad Company series, and then like probably Battlefield 3 or 4 ish or whatever, like when it was really really killing it, yeah, it had to be even bigger piece of that pie. But once you remove it from there, you're looking at the console exclusives, because then yeah, there's Halo, which that definitely take up a big chunk. On Sony, I don't even fucking know, because we don't really have a lot of FPSs anymore. um, but yeah, I mean, and it comes like other games like Crisis when that was popular, and and all these other fucking random ass shooters, you know. Um, but yeah, that's kind of it. So if you're looking at the genre, you already have an oligopoly. If you're looking at consoles, it's oligopoly. But when you combine those together, you create a monopoly, possibly. And yeah, so it's just kind of like, how much pull does COD have, right? If they can kind of prove how much pull, how much influence COD as a single game can influence, purchasing decisions, Sony can have a definite case on their hands, at least to explain why. I mean, they brought up Instagram data, which, okay, that's a good start, but I don't think that's going to convince any lawyer to stop that. I think what they would need is more actual market data to prove a point. They could also maybe use their own acquisition with, Bungie, or they could maybe use an acquisition, like a mock acquisition. If, let's say, they did get EA, let's say they did buy Square, let's say they bought Rockstar, right? And they could try to maybe work out some forecasts on, would that have as much impact over the industry as the potential purchase of Activision with Microsoft, particularly like with Rockstar. Obviously, we would look at GTA. How much influence would GTA have if GTA became a PlayStation exclusive? Which is funny, because wasn't it one once upon a time, like when it first launched, I think it was a PlayStation game only.
Yeah, I
So
think
it'd be kind of
by
funny, like way back in the day. But so that'd be kind of funny if that happened, because it's more like a homecoming than anything. But but like with EA, I actually would argue no, because other than FIFA, like you said, a lot of like Madden doesn't have the same pull. In the US maybe, but nowhere else does Madden have the same pull. And the issue with EA is that they have so much of their business focusing on the mobile market, which doesn't really impact the console market with Microsoft and shit like that. They're entirely different player bases, entirely different audiences. So yeah, they would get a big acquisition, but most of those resources and assets would go towards their mobile division, not their console division. Whereas Square, and not even Square that much either, because Square has been deviating all over the place with their mobile things too, and it wouldn't hit the U.S. market or the European market as well as it would the Japanese market, because Square is definitely heavy on the Japanese stuff. It would have to be Rockstar, in my opinion. I think the only thing, or Epic Games because of Fortnite, but other than that, like only those two could even come close to rivaling this Activision Microsoft thing. So if they like say, like, if we bought Rockstar today and made GTA a PlayStation exclusive, this is what would possibly happen. And if it matches, or guys come close to what possibly could happen with Activision and Blizzard, or sorry, Activision and Microsoft, then they can say, like, because of this, obviously, like, this would create an unfair advantage for players, create an unhealthy environment for the audience or the industry as a whole, create not unfair competition. Because of this example, this is why we can't let Microsoft buy Activision. They would have to do something like that, because that's more substantial. That provides an actual model that people can look at and follow. And so yeah, oh man, yeah, it's rough, man. It's rough. Like, I mean, this doesn't, like, here's the thing, like, this impacts everybody. Even if you're not like, this doesn't just impact COD players, this impacts everybody, right? Because it's like, if Sony, if let's say if Sony's worst dream comes true, and it goes through, and Microsoft's like, exclusive, can't get anywhere else, and they don't do that Game Pass thing, and everyone jumps ship. It's like, well, if Sony keeps losing, if they're like, fuck, we're just losing money now, and it's like, well, no more Sony, and it's like, well, what the fuck am I going to do? Because I don't want to go to Xbox right away. Like, I love Sony. I love my PlayStation 5. I love my big ass fucking refrigerator of a system that I have in my room or in my area. Like, I've grown up with it. Like, so to just be forced to like not have it anymore would disappoint. Oh, it would rage like the world.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen other game companies come to an end. Sega, when they came to an end, they had a huge like we forget, but they had a huge fan base as well.
They did, but the way they went down was weird.
Yeah,
they kind of like
that was self-inflicted.
They kind of like dug their own grave.
Yeah,
they dug their own grave
for sure.
Which would be a little bit different than this, because like I imagine if something like that were to happen today, we'd be like, okay, the writing's on the wall. Writing's on the wall. Fucking Sony keeps putting up with these weird ass consoles. Because like, yeah, Sega was. I mean, yeah. I mean, well, here's the thing. Sega, they really only killed it with their Genesis. Honestly, that was like their only. That would have done better if they hadn't have fucked up with the Saturn.
Yeah.
Because I think they released them within a very short time period of one another, or something like that.
And
the way they released and the way they launched the Dreamcast was odd too. Like the Dreamcast had the hit games for sure. It has those cult classics that we still know and love today, but it wasn't marketed well. It wasn't pushed out well enough, and then it also had like the Saturn looming over its shadow, or over his head. So it was unfortunately launched at a bad time. It could have saved them. Absolutely, it could have saved them, because those games that it had were pretty sweet. But it had all these other circumstances holding it back. But other than that, Genesis was like, it was only like, fucking just took it, just killed it. And everything else was kind of like after that. And their success wasn't even that long either. It wasn't even that long. It was like it wasn't even all of the 90s. It was like 8 or 7 years of the 90s. It wasn't even all of it. And so but again, like I said, like you as a Sega fan, you were like, yeah, Genesis 10 out of 10, best game, best system ever, this and that. But then you start seeing all these other things, especially if you kept up with that stuff. You're like, what is this? Oh no, what's happening now with Sega? And then you see this thing, and the Saturn comes out. You're like, oh no, what's going on with Sega? And like Sega CD, and you're like, oh, what is happening with Sega? Like you would have been able to have seen it happen. Whereas with Sony, it's like, okay, maybe we got a little worried with the PS3, but then they came back, redid everything with the PS3, came back and ended that generation strong. PS4 killed it. PS5 doing well. So like, there's no inclination to make us think like something bad would happen. So this would be like a literal like sneak attack. Well, not sneak attack, but like, just we weren't prepared for this. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, we're not prepared to be have something like this taken away, because it's not like Sony did anything wrong. It was just Microsoft bought Activision. Like, they didn't do anything wrong.
But I don't know. We'll have to see. It'll be interesting. If I'm right, then I get the title.
You heard it here first. Then
smartest businessman alive on this channel.
In the world, smartest businessman in the world, right over there. What I will predict is, if it happens, I would find it funny if all of a sudden, then, as like a Twitter thing starts, like a trending Twitter thing, would be at Rockstar to let Sony buy them. Let Sony buy you, so that is, because I'm telling you, the only thing that could compete with like COD is GTA. That's the only thing that could compete. So it'd be so funny. There's like petitions for Rockstar to be bought. They'll let Sony buy them. That'd be funny. It wouldn't happen, but it'd be hilarious to see that start trending on Twitter or whatever. Or like at every conference or whatever Sony or Rockstar go to, they're just like, let Sony buy you. So let Sony buy you. Or they're like, come home, Rockstar. Come home. Come home to Sony. That'd be funny. Yeah. It is interesting, though, to know that Activision's generally biggest rival as an EA, when you look at like things like that Battlefield numbers on history, it tells you, yeah, like they're maybe the biggest rival, but they really aren't anywhere close.
Yeah, not by much.
At least not in the console space. In the mobile space, I am sure EA would destroy Activision.
I don't know.
I know they have the Call of Duty
Diablo's
Mobile.
going gangbusters too. It's been doing really good.
I mean, that'll
Scarily
help.
enough.
That'll help. But EA's been at this for a lot longer, and so because they were investing in mobile long time ago, and they have more mobile stuff than anybody actually realizes that they do.
Yeah, because they have a lot
And
of
so
things. But...
they do, and so I honestly do feel that EA probably does out them in the mobile space, but that doesn't really pertain to what we're talking about though. But it's just interesting though to hear, at least in the console space, like, man, yeah, Activision smokes EA, which is funny because EA is the one getting all the shit. Right, as far as like everyone thinks that EA is the evil one, which I mean, yeah, they are, but like, fuck, Activision's been killing them the whole time, and no one even fucking knew. No one knew. Anyways, that's this podcast for this week, guys. Hope you guys had fun with it. I know it wasn't that direction oriented, but hey, it's the summer, so there's no direction anywhere in the summer for games. You just play games, have fun with them. Do me a favor, guys. Play Infamous.
Yeah.
Play that for me.
It's a good
because
game.
because it came out in the summer of like 2009. And I played it
summer
that
games. Summer games, some love.
That was like the last game. That was like the summer hit of that year, because it was like the only hit of that summer. So because it was the only game that released that summer. So do me a favor, play that. It's a good game. It's a fun game. So guys, have fun.
Like,
Stay
comment,
safe.
subscribe. Let us know what you
subscribe.
think would happen if Call of Duty goes exclusive.
I know we've already talked about this acquisition before, but now we wanted to talk. We got like a little bit more info from Sony and how they're kind of worried, and we're just seeing what Sony could possibly do about it, or how they would react to it. So we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.